涙の色はエメラルドブルー宝石みたいに光ってる流れ星を見上げていたあの夜も
Setelah berhasil summon Pokemon Legend, Childe pun langsung pergi begitu saja. Untung saja Lumin yang sempat ke desa Konoha untuk belajar dengan Hokage keempat. Dia pun menggunakan Hiraisin untuk langsung teleport ke atas Jet Chamber dan siap untuk bergelut.
Paimon's exhausted. If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out of the Golden House, we really wouldn't have known which way to go. Did we make it in time? Is the Overlord of the Vortex still in the sea? It hasn't destroyed Liyue yet, has it?
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing with the Chising. Is the fighting over?
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we have agreed to put our differences aside for now and unite against this common enemy.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Liyue? Just seeing this Overlord of the Vortex guy puts a pit in Paimon's tummy. Even from all the way out here.
It's not just you. We've got new Millilith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. The force of an ancient god's presence seems to be too much for ordinary people to handle. Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any closer to Liyue Harbor.
So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago against enemies like that thing? Now that's scary. So will the power of the Chising, Millilith, and Adepti gathered here be enough to stop that god?
We've already discussed this together, and our conclusion is... not necessarily.
What? But all of you were supposed to be the guardians of Liyue. Can't you think of something?
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did once research the matter of the Guizhong Ballista when it piqued their fancy. And as fate would have it, one who did craft the Guizhong Ballista with one's own hands is here. For what could you mortals ever learn of Adepti mechanisms? Yet it would take one, but a little tinkering to turn this ballista into an engine of war beyond your wildest thoughts.
I suppose this is one blessing from the Adepti that we should be thankful for. So be it. We shall use the upgraded Guizhong Ballista to fight off that god. All the Adepti here can lend their strength to man it. We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle begins now.
Yep. Be careful now.
The Guizhong Ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand. Farewell, old friend. Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
Dengan bergabungnya pimpinan pelabuhan Liyue, para adeptus, serta Lumin sebagai perwakilan dari para warga, Osial mendapatkan nasib yang sangat cocok dengan namanya. Dengan dipaksanya dewa kuno untuk bangun, dipaksa pula dia untuk tertidur kembali dengan ditibannya jet chamber di atas kepalanya. Setelah kejadian itu berakhir dan para adeptus kembali ke pengasingannya, Lumin dan Paimon pun bergegas mencari Zhongli karena pada pertemuan terakhir keadaan kantornya sedang tidak baik-baik saja. Sesampainya di Northland Bank,
You call this cooperation between harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. In the city of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember my name. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as something precious was snatched away from your friend.
Well, if it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map. This is certainly a bit awkward, wouldn't you say?
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but that's up to you. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee. For my promise is solid as stone.
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chiao? No, wait! That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you, and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky, and all of Liyue goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. It is now 3,700 years ago that I founded Liyue together with the Adepti. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come. Until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You've finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Chising to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. Indeed I was. The Gnosis, which I had kept for so many years, suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right. Which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liu matured when faced with the death of its deity.
In the end, the resolution to all that has transpired was even more satisfactory than I could have hoped for. Take the Adepti, for instance. Owing to their years of seclusion, they were the least informed. Yet when faced with a crisis, they commendably showed the greatest amount of restraint possible. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even made efforts to understand the hearts of the people. Credit is also due to Signora, the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract. At my request, she kept everything she knew in strict confidence. This despite the eavesdropping ears of her colleague, Child. This meant I could remain as Zhongli, even having the chance to fulfill the age-old traditions of Liu in this mortal form. Thank you for joining me on this journey, Traveler. All of these things turned out as I had planned. There is only one thing that I had not anticipated, and that was the conduct of the Liu Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liu. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liu as divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liu.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all!
On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark!
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, Adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo-Archon, Liu, would never have been able to become a dazzling diamond of a city.
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight? Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liu. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a disturber of the peace, no?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zapoljarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a Gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Disinilah identitas Zhongli yang sebenarnya terbongkar.
However,
Ternyata Zhongli adalah jelmaan Lord of Geo sang Geo-Archon.
thousands of years I have
Dan musibah yang terjadi baru-baru ini adalah sebuah uji coba darinya untuk menguji seluruh warga Liyue dikala mereka akan bertahan hidup membangun kota tanpa didampingi oleh dewa kebanggaan mereka. Dan dengan perjanjian kontraknya dengan Tsaritsa, Zhongli pun memberikan Gnosis miliknya. Dan Childe selaku badut Harbinger yang diprank oleh Zhongli dan telah menghabiskan saldo di Northland Bank, tidak ada yang bisa dilakukannya selain dicap menjadi kriminal dan kembali kepada Tsaritsa.
Look, it's Ningguang and Keqing. Are they saying something? Are their speeches over?
As said previously, Rex Lapis's soul returning to the heavens is the end of the contract. And it is also the end of an era.
3,700 years of contracts burnt and reduced to ash.
We, the people of Liyue, were indeed prosperous. But blinded by our prosperity, we forgot that time can be pitiless.
The long, unending dream of our Archon walking among us.
Now that we have awoken from our dream, we must learn to say farewell. Will you stand with us as we re-establish our contracts? As we build a new age of prosperity?
So concludes the words of Her Eminence the Tianquan. Does Her Eminence the Yuheng have anything to add?
Huh? Is she looking this way?
Traveler.
Yikes! She really is looking our way!
Is that the traveler who they say defeated the ancient god?
So young. The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. And as you have heard, our eyes see far and our reach is long. Name your price. You deserve that much.
Whoa!
Wow, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
Ingatlah, sekuat apapun itu, pada dasarnya, semua yang bernyawa pasti akan pensi. Thanks YouTube.